Mother, mother, I am ill. Send for the doctor over the hill. In comes the doctor, in comes the nurse, in comes the lady with the alligator purse. Pills, said the doctor, needles, says the nurse, hell, says the lady with the alligator purse. I was in the kitchen doing a bit of stitching. Along came Father Nimble, stole away my thimble. I got a great big stone and hit him in the belly bone. O-U-T spells out. I want out. I want out. I want to be where I belong. There must be a place like that somewhere. Hi. Hi. I'm counting heads. Only one per customer, please. I suppose everybody's here, everybody who wants to be, maybe everybody who, maybe not everybody who should be. And if you're looking for Advanced Thermodynamics 201, you're in the right building, but on the wrong floor. You'd be welcome anyway, though. We might teach each other something. I've been hired to promote poetry here. But I'm not supposed to upset anybody. Fat chance. Poets do upset people, sometimes on purpose, and if you should happen to become one, expect to have a status somewhere between a bank robber and a stripteaser. This is a poetry workshop, God help us. Literally. You're going to write poems. You're going to write the best poems you can write. How do you do that? Anybody? How do you get ready to write the best poems you can write? Well, yes, of course, you read some. You try to find good poems, and you read them, and you try to figure out what a good poem is. Let's see now. I'll assume you've read Yeats and Hopkins and Dylan Thomas and William Carlos Williams and Wallace Stevens and E.E. Cummings and Farmer Frost and tiresome Tom Eliot. Have you read Louise Bogan, Stanley Kunitz, Rolfe Humphreys, Archie McLeish, Kenneth Fearing, Ruth Pitter, Hart Crane, John Crow Ransom, Edward Thomas, Wilfred Owen, Auden, McNeice, Hardy, John Donne, Ben Jonson, Vaughan, Herbert, Herrick, Campion, the Earl of Surrey, Sir Thomas Wyatt, the anonymous Elizabethans, all of Mother Goose times 10. What would you say to a young composer who didn't go to concerts or recitals and listen to music on records? Or to a young painter who didn't go to art museums and galleries or the studios of other artists? Or to a young playwright who didn't go to the theater? There's the library. Your assignment this term is to read the bulk of poetry written in English. You don't have to read all of the Fairy Queen to know whether it's going to be useless to you, or all of Paradise Lost, or all of The Excursion. But you can dig and eat and scrape and scratch, and you can absorb. You don't have to annotate or grub like a scholar. Your brains are capable of osmosis. Treat the poetry section of the library like the land of osmosis. Hinks makes the old witch winks, the fat begins to fry. There's nobody home but Jumping Joan and father and mother and I. You hear the thump and smack of those Mother Goose rhymes. Opening line, 6 syllables, 5 beats. You won't find lines like that anywhere else. Make them your closest friends. There are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of poems in print, most of them bad, many of them good, some of them wonderful, a few of them marvelous, a precious few of them for you to love with all your heart. You have to find them, and the sooner you do, the better. They'll change the poems you try to write into something better. Your best work will be a kind of magic amalgam of them. They'll live in your spinal cord and come to your rescue. They'll change your life. Go find them. Bear with me here. I've been trying to teach people like you something about the nature of poetry by rewriting it for them for lo these many years. I still think any fool, present company included, can write at least one good poem that a literate adult can read with something like pleasure. Of course, I only really believe that on alternate Tuesdays. And don't use the phrase writer's block in here and tell me that old one, I just can't think of anything to say, because I'll barf. I usually barf every day on the way to class, but I'll barf twice. The problem of what to say about anything was solved for you long ago in Tristram Shandy. Didst thou ever see a white bear? Cried my father. No, replied the corporal. But thou couldst discourse about me in case of need? How is it possible, quoth my Uncle Toby, 'tis the fact I want, replied my father. A white bear. Have I ever seen one? Ought I ever to see one? Or can I ever see one? Would I had seen a white bear, for how am I supposed to imagine it? If I should see a white bear, what should I say? If I should never see a white bear, what then? I never have, can, must, or shall see a white bear alive. Have I ever seen the skin of one? Did I ever see one painted? Have I ever dreamed of one? Will my father, mother, uncle, aunt ever see a white bear? How could they believe? How could they behave? How would the white bear behave? Is he wild, tame, terrible, rough, smooth? Is there a white bear worth seeing? Is there no sin in it? Is it better than a black one? What, you didn't get it? You just put anything you've got in your mind, any complete noun, any experience, almost any concept, anything in this world or the next in place of the white bear, and you'll have enough notes to go on for a week. Or do you want me to give you assignments, get you going? Little easy pieces, exercises. All right. Write a poem about your mother. All poets do, eventually. And if you think that's hard, write a poem about your father. All poets do that too, eventually, even if they don't think they do. Write a poem from the viewpoint of somebody you don't like. Write a poem, every line of which is a lie. You won't like it much when you're done, but you'll learn a lot trying to do it. Write a poem, every line of which ends with the sound of R. It's the only sound that works. All the rest sound like hell, but R, you have to make music. Write a poem describing a landscape with no people in it. Someplace you know. Make the reader feel the same way you do about it, but don't tell the reader how to feel. Write a very slow, very quiet poem. A poem to be whispered. Write a loud, angry poem. Write a fast, high-spirited, passionate poem. They're not the same, though some actors seem to think they are. If you owned a boat or a horse, what would you name it? Say why, and you've got a poem. And if you can't think of anything else, write a pep song for the police department. And if you don't want me to tell you what to write, remind yourselves you're moving among your friends and classmates like actors in a play watched by gods. They want to know who you are, even when you're in bed trying to hide under the covers. All day, every day, you're moving among miracles, and you have nothing to write about? If you aren't already an animist, pretend you are. If one of your gods had an animal form, which one would it be? Which bird? Which flower? Which tree? What kind of weather? There's obviously more than one god. The Romans made a mistake when they settled on one, and look at them now. How could one god have caused all that confusion? Or here's the best assignment I could possibly give you, the most valuable, the most educational, the one you'll thank me for most if you think about this class someday in the future. Make a list as long and as complete as you can even if it's maybe only a sentence each of your earliest memories. You may not be able to figure out what they mean, but if they were important, even vital, you wouldn't remember them. And don't be afraid to write anything. Keats said poems had better come naturally or not at all, but even so, he kept forcing them out because now and then they were wonderful, and he never knew which was which ahead of time. If you take a glance around this room, you're looking at people a whole lot like you. You have something in common. This is one of the very, very few rooms on this campus where after taking something apart, students are putting it back together again in new ways. Where people are writing down on paper what's never been said before, or at least trying to do that as often as possible. You're in here for mysterious reasons, whether you think so or not. Now ask yourself, why am I here listening to this instead of a lecture about the French Revolution or what to do about the shortage of wood pulp? As a first step in this term, I want to help you strengthen the connections among meaning, rhythm, and sound, so you can deal with the whole range of your emotions, and not just a narrow band in the middle where you can drone like a bad textbook. A poet should have the same controls and develop the same skills as a good singer has. Tempo, pitch, volume, intensity, timbre, breathing, not breathing, also known as silence. The big trouble is, you have to be your own composer and your own accompanist. Every poem, just like every song, is a series of vowels interrupted by consonants or by silence. And those vowels can have their own music and their own meaning. And they'd better have something to do with what you're saying, or at least better not interfere with it. Blake began a poem. Truly, my Satan, thou art but a dunce. But you hear him start disdainfully high and come down the scale with a thud. I can say, even if we tried to sell that grandfather clock, who knows how much dough to hold out for? Or the other way, who would know the aught of art must first feel at his ease. And watch out for those nasal high E's. They can be deadly to the music of your poem. Why do you suppose Shakespeare had the three witches sing, "When shall we three meet again?" Through their crooked, hooked noses. He wanted them to sound like witches, so don't write lines like "the aspidistra has fungus gnats" unless you want to be a witch. You don't think this matters? Does color matter to a painting class? Do pitch and tempo matter to a musician? Can a playwright ask an actor to go out on the stage and say, "I'm terribly angry," and expect the audience to share the feeling? Herrick began a poem. Now is the time when all the lights wax dim. Do you hear how slow, how beautifully controlled that is? And Yeats, whose ear was marvelous, wrote, "All things can tempt me from this craft of verse." You have to go slow or you'll strangle. Alexander Pope told us, when Ajax strives some rock's fast weight to throw, the line too labors and the words move slow. We'll take a long look at these lines and we'll figure out why they're slow. It pays to learn minute particulars of your craft. When I was in the 7th grade, my teacher made us memorize a long list of prepositions. We were learning the parts of speech. They still haunt me, thank God. In, on, into, over, under, to, at, by, for, from, of, off, outside, inside, toward, about, between, among. I can go on with these scene changers of the mind's eye, these stage setters and set decorators, those indicators and path makers, those little lariats and wedges. They've gotten me out of more trouble as a writer than a friend in the mayor's office. What are you laughing at? Well, I don't know either. Am I spoiling your lunch? I see you sitting there. Don't think I don't. Some of you slouched in the backs of your necks thinking, "Okay, buddy, teach me something." Most of you probably playing sleepy by. counting metrical feet, spooking yourself with what you think are heavy thoughts. You're in a tough time, of course. Adolescence is worse than old age in many ways, but it needn't be prolonged unless you work at it. Well, show me what you've written as soon as possible. Let's get it over with. I'll be fair and kind. I'll read what you've written and try to help. I'm here to help wake you up. And those students get the highest grades who teach me the most. I'm paid to show you how to prepare yourselves, how to come towards your lives another step or two. Have you heard all this before? Well, I may be just another teacher to you, but you'll soon realize I'm not. I'm something else. I'll be sneaking up behind you and trying to scare you up into the air on Pegasus without forgetting the value of horse sense and horse manure. I know two things about a horse, and one of them is rather coarse. And speaking of manure, I'll be your critic. And you don't want to get too mad at critics. That's what some of them want, the worst of them. And it's very distracting. It makes you forget what you're doing. It's very distracting. I don't want to. Dumbbell critics can drive you to distraction. You get distracted and you shouldn't do that. I mean, I shouldn't do that to you. So don't get the wrong idea. There are all kinds of wrong ideas, but that's one of the worst. Who's been looking at your work besides your boyfriends and girlfriends and your mom and dad? Some of you may have been teachers' pets of the wrong teachers, the ones who think poetry is a kind of emotional eccentricity of the young, a phase you have to get over, the sooner the better. I'm going to pretend you're in for the long haul. I'll find a way to forgive you for being recently discovered by your parents. I'll forgive you if you belong to the Bunny Rabbit School of Poetry. I'll even forgive you if you write hymns. I'll forgive you even if all you wanted to do is show off. Herman Melville's mother wrote to a friend, "Herman is taken to writing poetry. Don't tell anyone. You know how such things get around." You're going to have to be tough-minded about being a poet because it's going to bother some people. It's going to confuse them. I'm going to lecture on chaos if I feel like it. It may be hard to understand sometimes. You don't have to forgive me, but you should. I have a speech impediment. It's called poetry. So look out. I may be passing it on. And that's probably not what Mom and Dad sent you to college for. And I'm afraid if you're going to be reckless and crazy enough to keep writing poems, you're going to be spending a lot of time alone. You'll all be alone. The muse refuses to dance for a committee. And when you're alone, you get lonely, of course, and you do dumb things. And if you can't find somebody to do them with, I mean, if you can't find somebody worth talking to, somebody who knows how to listen, you might start talking to yourself just to improve the conversation. Or somebody might find you. It might be somebody you don't want around, somebody you don't want to listen to either, somebody you don't even want to see. Where was I? I was here a minute ago. Rule number 96 for writers: never crumple paper. It takes up too much room in the wastebasket. Poems are like fish sometimes. They don't want to be caught. You've got to be a kind of a heron or an old fisherman. And maybe I can take you out into poetry the way an old fishing guide takes out a beginner. You're going to notice what's in the sky, and you're going to notice where the wind's coming from, and what it tastes like. You're going to move carefully. Move no more than you have to. You're going to look at the whole surface of the water as far as you can see. You're going to look over to the side. Close to you. Close, close. It's the only way you can see through the water. If you look only a little bit too far away, you're not looking at the water anymore. You're looking at a reflection of the sky. And if you want to catch fish in the sky, you're in the wrong boat. Look close. As if you were a heron. And you wouldn't need a guide or a boat or even a fishing pole. Ask any heron. Herons move slow. They know how to think like a fish. They know where to look if they want to see through the water. They know how to stand still and wait. And then strike. I don't have to teach you how to swallow a fish, or do I? Head first, or you'll strangle. On the other hand, suppose you've gone out with a guide and caught a fish, a real genuine living fish, and there it is, by God, right in your hands. Now what do? Is it a keeper? Well, that depends. In poetry, there's no such thing as legal length, or legal species, or legal season, or even legal limit. So you've got a poem. Are you going to throw it back? Unless you've been very, very careful, it'll probably die and nobody will see it again except belly up. Are you going to string it and go after more? Are you going to row for home and scale it and clean it and cook it and eat it? Consider this a quick lesson in overextended metaphor. So what have you got on the page? This is the crucial stage. You may hear a sinister voice over your shoulder saying, "It's finished, you're done, you're wonderful, you're wonderful." Don't listen, don't believe it. The most important of all, don't reread the poem, put it away. Come back to it when you're fresh, when you're half poet and half critic and ready to make it better. You're going to look closely at it. The closer you look at a really good poem, the better it gets. The closer you look at a bad poem, the worse it gets. Listen to this. When I am dead and over me bright April shakes out her rain-drenched hair, though you should leave above me broken-hearted, I shall not care. I shall have peace as leafy trees are peaceful when rain bends down the bough, and I shall be more silent and cold-hearted than you are now. It's by Sarah Teasdale. It's been in dozens of anthologies. Many, many members of poetry societies have sighed over it and nodded. It pushes all the right buttons. But look closer. She's asking you to think of April as a gigantic woman with wet hair. She's asking you to think leafy trees are peaceful. Do you hear her sounding like a Shakespeare witch without meaning to? If their branches are drenched and sagging with rain, she's asking you to take seriously an adolescent emotion that amounts to, "You'll be sorry when I'm dead." Take a long, hard look at whatever you try to do. Let's say your poem's a description. Whatever it is, you can look at it as if for the first time anyone has ever looked. Find words for it. Write them down, no matter what they are. Get something living down in black and white. The language doesn't even have to be figurative, but be one of those on whom, as Henry James said, nothing is lost. So, you've got your fish on a piece of paper. Now what are you going to put it in the frying pan? Anne, come quick as you can. There's a fish that talks in the frying pan. Out of the fat, as clear as glass, it lifted its head and said, "Alas, oh, most mournful, alas, alack," then turned its frying and sank him back. Did you hear the little immortal poem by Walter de la Mare? Every impulse right. And if you fail rhythmically, your poem is nothing. If you can't keep up the energy, if you can't make the poem move right, you can have surprising subject matter, original imagery, and you'll still have a bad poem. Ideas in poetry are incidental. Poetry isn't just an act of mischief. You also have to say more than one thing at a time. But that comes later. Is it all too obvious? But somebody has to say it out loud. I won't act like the vice president of a secret society, doling out information and being stingy about it in case some student might write it better than I can. This world needs all the poems it can get, and you're going to make some. And they ask me, when you look into the sky, do you not see a round ball of fire where about the size of a guinea? And I answer, no, I see an innumerable army of the heavenly host crying, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. I question my vegetable or corporeal eye no more than I would question a window through which I look. I do not look with my eyes, but through them. At least once a week, you're going to be William Blake. It would probably be a good idea not to do it on the same days that I do. How do you get ready to write a poem? Schiller keeps apples on his desk because the smell inspired him. Or was he the one with the room over the stable because he needed to smell the horse shit? Parsifal Wagner, after he was rich, wrote these turgid libretti on expensive foolscap with a quill while wearing a medieval robe, with dramatic stage lighting. Ibsen kept 3 trolls in his desk drawer. A tough scene, he'd bring out a troll. A really tough scene, he'd bring out a second troll. He never once had to bring out a third one, but it was there in his desk when he died. George Simenon used to hole up in a hotel room under an assumed name with nothing but a phone book for names and a city map for places, and write a chapter a day for 10 or 11 days and go home with a novel. Stephen Spender says he sometimes finds as many as 5 cigarettes lit in his work table at the same time, and Hart Crane and a whole lot of others preferred booze. I don't recommend it. It's too damn confusing. And Coleridge and Rimbaud lay down in the poppy fields and had a whole lot of trouble waking up, though Baudelaire quit dabbling with that deliberate disordering of the senses when he said he felt the wing of madness brush him. The wing of madness. I've had the whole bird up my behind. Roman soothsayers inhaled smoke of ivy leaves and laurel leaves, but nobody kept track of what it did for their predictions or their imagery. It was probably pretty good for their rhythms. And keep a distance from academics. Don't join that society and try to figure out whether you belong to some school or movement of poetry. Most of those people don't know what they're talking about, no matter what they say. This isn't the age of criticism. The other day, one of them told me, rhythm in poetry is regular repetition of accent. When I started laughing, he got mad. But it's one of the funniest definitions. That man is being paid to teach in a room not far from here. Regular repetition of accent? He thinks he's read King Lear. Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks. Rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanes. Spout till you have drenched our steeples. Drown the cocks, you sulphurous and thought-executing fires. Vaunt couriers of oak leaving thunderbolts. Singe my white head. And thou all shaking thunder, crack nature's molds. All Germans spill at once that makes ungrateful man. There's no rhythm in that. Only the irregular heartbeat of a storm. Most of my colleagues at this university think all the real poets died about 50 years ago. New poets and new poems embarrass them. Almost all of them think they're teachers, and some think apologetically they might be poets. My tongue thickens when I think of them. But I can spot the sons and daughters of bitches at a glance. That one, Couldn't tie his own shoes, so they made him an administrator. And that one ate his father. This other one saves her grandmother's toenails. Jesus, I feel a serious diplomatic illness coming on. That one has all the charm of a flush knob on a public toilet. And a hillbilly who has learned the alphabet. A male beauty poet is an oxymoron, and they all sound alike. A self-pitying spiritual prod. Another mortician's assistant. A linty navel scraper. Another literary police commissioner who looks like his tapeworm just found a way out. That one thinks Ezra Pound was a poet. Hey, Doc, how many cantos were there? Well, that's just how many garbage cans we're gonna need. And there's the kind of colleague who'll stand there and piss all over your shoes and tell you it's raining. There's a walking case of constipation, and when he finally moves a little, all the doctor's candidates wander around his bed and applaud his bedpan. And there's the mistress of garble. I like some of her poems, but she plucks what others have sneezed out on a salad bar and puts too much dressing on it. At a party, tastes like something Mother used to make. And a little. The usual satisfaction, I presume? What do you mean, vulgar? I'm no more vulgar than the goddamned unabridged dictionary. Drunk? Well, you're ugly, but I'll be sober in the morning. All these stone-deaf enemies of life, liberty, and the pursuit of anything but a bigger paycheck. Speaking of which, I need more dough. The goddamn novelists make all the money, and they can't even write. Now, where was I? Where were we? I suppose it ought to be demonstration time. I should practice what I preach. I should probably show you something. I should be some kind of a good example. Give me any concrete plural noun. I'll presume you all know what that is. Okay, bones. Don't make it too easy for me. Clocks. Flags. Only monosyllables. Shingles. Feathers. Tennis shoes. There's one in every class. Carpets. Flashlights. Chickens. Stop signs. I need a dozen. Gutters. Just one more. Trumpet vines. Bones, clocks, and flags all falling now. The shingles among feathers tumbling down. Old tennis shoes and carpets down with the carpets. Down with the dark stop signs. And flashlights going out among the disappearing chickens. And down into our gutters under dead trumpet vines. What's the lesson? What does it tell us? I'll try to show you instead of telling you. The same 12 words in the same order. Suddenly, the burning bones, the clocks and terrible flags came flying out of the dark, and shingles like lost feathers sailing above us, the tennis shoes and the shreds of carpets over the broken stop signs, spinning like flashlights and flopping to earth like bewildered chickens, flung to our gutters and over them into the trumpet vines, where they all wait for us now, invisible. This night, the neglected trumpet vines, deepening there for us, who are the silent trumpet vines of the gods. You see what can happen to your words? To any words? Poems are flying around you almost all the time. Words where it says, heaven lies above us, about us in our infancy. Infancy. Well, it lies about us a hell of a lot more than that, of course. What I mean is you can't miss poems wherever you look. Some are in deep disguise, some obviously are out in the open, and there's no limit to them. All you have to do is be alert enough, receptive enough, persistent enough, clever enough, honest enough, skillful enough to recognize them and catch them. They needn't be great flares of insight or startling intellectual achievements. Don't be cowed by big brains. Poems can be very simple, very, very clear. Listen. Rain has fallen all the day. Oh, come among the laden trees. The leaves lie thick upon the way of memories. Staying a little by the way of memories shall we depart. Come, my beloved, where I may speak to your heart. Too simple-minded for you? It was written by one of the most verbally sophisticated human beings of the 20th century, little Jimmy Joyce, without aid of parent or teacher. Has almost all the characteristics of music, and he was proud of it. Plato had no place for poets in his ideal republic. They were too undependable. They wouldn't obey orders. They wouldn't behave like citizens, good citizens. They kept wanting things to change and wouldn't stay in their assigned seats. They kept talking when they were supposed to be listening and listening when they should talk. They kept bringing up new ideas instead of settling for the old ones. They kept finding faults with everyone else's words and showing off with their own. They wouldn't settle down, let everyone else and everything else stay the same. I don't understand why the university lets us do this. They ought to have more sense. You'll have to excuse me for a while. Let's take a breather. Go do your homework, but don't go home. Did I give you any homework? Go imagine some homework. I've got something I'm supposed to do. I'm even supposed to know how to do it. All I have to do is remember what it is. Don't be impatient. We're not going to change the universe until next semester. I'll see you. I'll see you whether I want to or not. I'll probably see you even if you aren't there. We'll break for 5 minutes. That's real. It's coming. When I was in my mother's bower, I had all that I would. The Bailey beareth the bell away, the lily, the rose I lay. Silver is white, red is the gold, the robes they lay in a fold. The Bailey beareth the bell away, the lily, the rose I lay. And through the glass window shines the sun. How should I love when I so young? The Bailey beareth the bell away, the lily, the rose I lay. Anonymous is too damn good. The poem, you write one, you look at it, and suddenly you wonder why you can't write one every day. And when you try, it seems impossible. You make notes, but notes are not poems. Whenever I drink, I think. Or I think. The air goes in, the air goes out, but it's still just air. To the white east, to the blue south, to the yellow west, to the black north, to the even blacker earth. I'm not sure what you are, Papa, but here's to you anyway. The trellis whistles in the wind, the whistling in the windy trellis. The wind is whistling in the empty trellis. What is the trellis saying in the... How the hell did I ever learn to read and write? never crumble. The hardest part about being a poet is the times when you aren't anything. When you don't even want to be anything. I keep telling my students how to do it and when to do it, but who's going to tell me? Galileo should have written a poem saying the earth moved. Then the Inquisition wouldn't have paid him any attention at all. Titles of poems, thousands of titles of poems nobody's written yet. Lot's other wife, Pandora's other box, Cleopatra's other needle, the sorcerer's other apprentice, the wandering Gentile, Casey on the bench, the Paradise Songbook, the Schizophrenic Cookbook. Hello, Swifty. Did you get the boss my message? Why not? Well, here's a condensed version. I want a raise next year. Tell him. No, tell him. I'm a prize winner. We don't settle for blue ribbons and a handshake. I don't care what he said. Sex manual for poets. First lesson, don't necessarily have to be manual. Young poets keep sending me their books. They want to be congratulated. Most of them should be getting sympathy cards. Life keeps handing me a violin and saying, here, play a Bach partita. Remember the poor. It don't cost nothing. Nobody ever forgets where they buried the hatchet. She went through life looking for the manager. Hello, Mike. It's Ted. I want you to send another fresh salmon to Lillian Hellman. Still got the address? It's a bigger one this time. It's brain food. We're collaborating on a play. No, that means you both work on it at the same time. The kind they put on stage. I know all the dialogue in the madhouse, and she knows how to arrange it. Send it to her and bill me. Now, the origin of the species through natural selection. Now, there's a good title. Note to future self, write a children's book and make some money for a change. How about piss in boots? Or a special piece for the Reader's Digest, how I lost 30 pounds screwing a bear for the FBI. Gloria Mundi, it was sick in transit. Hello, this is Ted Retke, English department. I want to send some of my books to people. At least I think they're people. Words for the Wind, also known as Words for the Behind. Send 12 to the Supreme Court justices. I don't know their goddamn names, but they need help. You can take a big chance and try the Supreme Court building, Washington, D.C. And while you're at it, send one to Robert Farmer Frost with my compliments and tell him to stick it up his ass if he remembers where it is. Just send it care of Vermont. It knows where he is. A young robin, on its first day off the nest, will eat 14 feet of worms. Now, how the hell do you measure a worm? Wrens feed their young in the nest more than 1,000 times between dawn and dusk. I don't deserve to be tired. Papa, the Messiah in Africa say the God who speaks up gets the meat. When are you going to speak up? I was taught in school not to take the Lord's name in vain, but how else am I supposed to take it? If I can't write good poems, where the hell am I? I might as well be dead. Maybe I already am. I'm getting nervous again. I don't want to start writing windy epics that sound like translations from the Urdu. Look, Cal Voles. He's a notorious co-ed screwer, and Winston Alden collects photos of, chaps doing chaps. Are they on some kind of a higher moral ground? What the hell have they got that I haven't got? They've read the Encyclopedia Britannica and the Oxford Unabridged from cover to cover, but does that make them better? Eliot wears a truss, makes sure his wife stays in a nut house where she belongs. Doc Williams had his stroke while he was in bed with one of his married patients. I don't have to be perfect either, do I? I can no more run out of material than the city dump. There are 12 million billion neurons in the brain. It says right here. The number of interconnections among them is greater than the total number of atomic particles in your universe. And I can't get my brain to make a poem. I get a good idea, I get a good workable idea, it smells good enough to eat. But it's like homemade Chinese food. You follow the recipe like the best chef between here and Hong Kong, and the result? Not bad. I don't want to be not bad. Today, I feel like I'm under arrest again, but where are the cops? Haven't I tried to read damn near everything? I've even read trial tactics for lawyers. It says here, never attack a woman's character, except in an emergency. Monarch butterflies lay their eggs on flowers of milkweed, and the grubs feed on the poisonous sap and become poisonous to predators, and are still more poisonous after they turn into butterflies. Why didn't my parents think of that? Maybe they did. Maybe that's what's the matter. It says here, lizards are nauseated by the taste of fireflies. And it says here that a rattlesnake fights with another rattlesnake. They never used to use their fangs, not even their rattles. Are those some kind of good signs? Should we keep hoping? When I was in the womb, I didn't want to die. Was that another good sign? The law of diminishing returns says the increase of labor or capital up to a certain point. No. I don't want to know what that is. Never crumple paper. There are three kinds of stress: torsion, bending, and tension. As long as the material maintains its proportionality, it is being subjected to permissible stress. But there's an elastic limit. The crystals of metal begin to shear and form and crack lines and turn amorphous. Then they fracture. It's called breaking point. Papa, I don't have to go crazy again, do I? A few days on your feet and we'll have you back in bed in no time. I can't write when I'm not myself. Ask anybody. The only times my friends aren't afraid for me is when I'm in the dumps and when I feel sunk. I can't write then either. I can't write when I'm way up. I can't write when I'm way down. I can't stay in between long enough. I can't put it any plainer than that. With all due respect, you dumb son of a bitch, do you even understand English? Even when the stuff is no good. I don't blame you. Sometimes it wasn't half bad. Maybe I didn't know what I was searching for, but I believed in it anyway. I believed in you. I took every chance I could think of. I let my mind go. I turned it loose. And look what happened to it. I gave it to you, and look what you did to it. Whatever made you and your afflet is so goddamn divine. Something in me wants to crawl out. I want to be more than a man, more than just a mammal. I can't be human. I don't have time. I wish I could put down roots and sprout leaves, but that isn't what's happening. I'm going to drink too much. I'm going to think the wrong things. No, I shouldn't think that. No, I shouldn't think that either. I'm going to fall on my face. Somebody's sneaking up on me. Somebody limping. Somebody talking to himself. Papa, we know who that is, don't we? It's me, looking all over hell for you. And as usual in the vicinity of a poet, there's more garbage than cans. Folks, get ready. Stick out your can. Here comes the garbage man. Hello, this is Professor Theodore Retke at the University of Washington, and I'd like to speak to the governor. Yes. This is Professor Theodore Retke at the University of Washington. Would you please connect me with the governor? I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to him. I'm busy too, but I'm willing to spend a little of my time helping him out. This is more important than that horse shit. Are you his secretary, his PR man? Do you write any of his speeches? Who does? Does he write them himself? They sound like it. I don't want to write him a letter. I've got more important things to write. Just tell him I'm on the line. And the same to you, buddy, with a half twist. I look like a dirty joke. No wonder they call them elephants. Look how goddamn big they are. A young poet should be a turtle. An old poet should be a rabbit. Or is it the other way around? Welcome aboard the raft, the Medusa. Why the hell did I go to Harvard? I can go crazy anywhere. I'm not picky, I'm not choosy, I'm nicer when I'm crazy. I can make up my mind, I'm generous. I can look around and know what's going on, even if I do feel like hunters and shotguns are chasing me. I'm sort of benevolent. But Papa, it's hard work being a bad example for a whole community of scholars. I can't stand to talk to most of them. And you can't either, can you? So let's decide what we're going to do instead. Say something. I'm all ears and no brain. I don't know what to do with my body. I don't know where my hands belong. I don't know if I should be sitting down or standing up or where there's enough room so I don't knock something over. I'm high as I can be, for I am a member of the faculty with tenor. The Greeks had a word for it, synecdoche, to receive jointly, a part for the whole, a whole for a part, the container for the contained. Step into my orifice, madam. Rickety, rickety, ram, goddamn, highty-tighty, Christ almighty, rah, rah, shit. Theodor Hübner, Graf von Retke, notice the slender, aristocratic wrist. I want to be the laureate of the armpit. Hi there, Mr. Guts and Mrs. Hippo, how about a stroll in the hot weeds? With my hands on myself, what have I here? These are my globetrotters, nothing to fear. Globetrotters, knee benders, red box, chest protector, chin chopper, mouth clicker, mite, nose wiper, eye blinker, brain box, wiggy wiggy woo. That's what they taught me when I went to school. Cinderella, dressed in yellow, went downtown to see her fella. All on the way, her girdle busted. How many people were disgusted? 1, 2, 3. You know where I am, Papa? I'm in the White Kingdom, between the madhouse and the grave. But at least my heart's in the right place. What's it doing over there? Maybe I got 2. When she was on her deathbed, my mother said, go find out what Teddy's doing and tell him to stop. M is for the million things she told me. O is for the other things she told me. T is for the 1,000 things she told me. H is for the 100 things she told me. E is for each little thing she told me. R is for the rest of the things she told me. Put them all together and they spell mother. But I can't put them all together now. Company, attention, forward, jumping jacks. Arrest me, why would you arrest me? Don't hit me on the head, no, anywhere but the head, don't hit me, please don't hit me. One evening in October, when I was far from sober, but carrying my load with manly pride, my feet began to stutter as I lay down in the gutter, and a pig came by and lay down by my side. A lady passing by was heard to say, "You can tell a man who boozes by the company he chooses," and the pig got up and slowly walked away. When am I well? When am I sick? Which is which? Take your pick. I am up and I seem to stand and I go round, and I am a new argument of the new philosophy that the earth moves round. Why may I not believe that the whole earth moves in a round motion? For I am carried in a giddy and circular motion as I stand. And now that I am up, I am ready to fall further than before. Man hath no center but misery. There he is fixed and sure to find himself. Papa, why can't I be in ecstasy for a change? In Ireland, the madman is king. I know. I've been there and done that. Do I have to be sane? Do I really have to be? But remember this if you don't remember anything else. I often busted out laughing in the middle of the night. None of your saints can say that. If I take those goddamn pills, I feel like a pig. There was a lady loved a swine. Honey, quoth she, pig hog, wilt thou be mine? Oh, quoth he. I'll build thee a silver sty, honey, quoth she, and in it thou shalt lie. Ah, quoth he. Pinned with a silver pin, honey, quoth she, that thou might go in and out. Ho, quoth he. Wilt thou have me now, honey, quoth she, speak or my heart will break. Ah, quoth he. Papa, I've confessed till I'm blue in the face. What am I supposed to do? Go out and be worse so I'll have more to confess? You want some more promises? I solemnly swear to ask you, not to ask you to kill any more editors or reviewers, except two. I solemnly swear to read all my mail, even my campus mail, or at least look at it. I solemnly swear to return all the library books out on indefinite faculty loan, except, no, I'll return all of them, almost all of them. I solemnly swear not to fill up any more faculty wives at parties. All right, not even Bootsy. And remember, I never once screwed a student of mine, not until she wasn't a student anymore. How many other professors can swear to that? And I even married her. I made an honest woman out of her. No, she was already too damn honest. She made something out of me, out of both of us. I did my best to love her. I couldn't have imagined her. Light as a spirit, she comes near, and emptiness is gone forever. Her shape comes floating over me like thistledown at the end of summer. She asks, what woke me? Was it you? She touches me and I become nothing but breath under the moon. I didn't care if I lost myself in her. I even learned to love my mother the right way. But lovers have to die and disappear inside each other. So I turned away. I turned a cold eye toward eternity. Well, you have to love women. But then you sit there and you can't think of anything else. Too lost in the nuts to do anything but go nuts. Too bent to be stiff, too stiff to be bent. Listening to yourself, turning into a dumbbell. I'm sick. I'm sick of women. If I want mama, all I have to do is look in the mirror. I want Papa. Papa, I'm going to tell you a dream. Stop me if you've heard this one. I dreamed you weren't dead. You were just busy somewhere, doing something more important, and didn't have much time. I'd been writing some some things, some poems. And some good magazines printed them. A whole book of them. Somebody published the book. And I handed you a copy, absolutely free of charge. And you handed it back and said, I already have a book. And I suddenly realized you couldn't read. How could I have thought I was your son? I was never your son. I cursed your kind of life. I tried to burn your barn. I spit in your well. I used to love thinking about your stupidity. But I forgave you, didn't I? You bastard, I forgave you. You were a drunk and I wanted to kill you, but I didn't. The cancer came and ate up your stomach and made you howl for what you'd done to Mom and me. But I didn't do it. I didn't have to. And now I'm afraid I'm never going to find you. But if I do, I'm afraid I'm going to kill you all over again. How's that for a mystic experience? You get to touch Papa with a pitchfork. At least when you got drunk enough, you danced. And you tried to show me how. You put your dirty, stinking garden shoes under mine and showed me how to dance. Then you threw me in bed and expected me to stay there and go to sleep. Damn you! I'm never going to get enough sleep. I always want to get up and dance with you. You grew roses in houses 600 feet long, stems 4 feet high. You hated to cut them, but you cut them. You could tell which ones were the best ones at a glance. You could think like a rose. I could tell. And I got down in the dirt so I could think like one too, down in the stink and rot they grew out of. At least you loved them. And nobody gave you any when you died. I knew where they were, but I kept my mouth shut. Papa, you knew all about roses, and I know almost all about poems. When you finally write one, really write one, that's when everything good is supposed to happen. That's when the rockets go up and the bells go off, but it isn't happening. I thought I'd been there and come back with good news. Is that asking for too much, or did I do it wrong? Is it in the wrong order? Don't you like the style? I can't believe you want me to go to church and listen to all that lousy prose. I just sit there and I tell myself I've already thought of all of that, and it didn't help. Why do I keep thinking I can get you to sing through me? Well, maybe you can't even sing. Maybe you're tone deaf. Christ knows you don't listen. Papa, I was the lost son, remember? And my father found me. You and him both. Or is it all because of what happened way back then in college? Is it because we gave him away? We gave him away because we were too young and too dumb and didn't even like each other very much. You can't be blaming me for that. He's, what, 30 years old now. He wouldn't have liked me to start with, and he wouldn't like me now. He'd be ashamed of me. Talk about lost sons. My old man's a poet. Sounds as bad as my old man's a drunk. I don't even know what he looks like. Poor bastard probably looks like me, or worse yet, what if he's like me? He might want to kill me the way I... We made the best choice, didn't we? Didn't we? We were being reasonable, not crazy. Maybe he forgave me. Maybe he'll forgive me someday. Maybe the trouble's just temporary. And all we have to do is be reasonable. I've written some very, very good poems, damn it. I won't go so far as to call them great, but I may admit it now. Admit it. Go on, admit it. All right, thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, if it's got one. Thanks awfully. I humbly beg your pardon. Look, you do your job and I'll do mine, but you first. All right, my muse. My extraordinary rubbish collector, my knock-kneed, fat-ass virgin, you can go back to wherever it is you go and do whatever it is you do. I'll give you another call sometime soon. If at first you don't succeed, try again, then quit. No use being a goddamn fool about it. I'll go back to my other job. Maybe I can do some good. Papa, don't worry about me doing you any harm. Maybe I'll catch your act next time. Don't tell me. I remember. My students keep me almost human. No wonder the cops take away your ties and shoelaces. One of Blake's proverbs of hell is, if a fool should persist in his folly, he would become wise. It should have been, if a fool would persist in his folly, he would become a professor of creative writing. Oh, my mind feels like it's been left out in the rain. And here you are. Told you I'd see you again. But I told you I was afraid I'd see you again. And see, I'm not afraid. Actually, I'm glad you're still visible. Hell, let me have men and women about me who are still visible. This is the key of the kingdom. In that kingdom is a city. In that city is a town. In that town there is a street. In that street there are winds. There winds a lane. In that lane there is a yard. In that yard there is a house. In that house there waits a room. In that room an empty bed. And on that bed a basket of sweet flowers. Of flowers. Of flowers. A basket of sweet flowers. Flowers in a basket. Basket on the bed, bed in the chamber, chamber in the house in the weedy yard, yard in the winding lane, lane in the broad street, street in the high town, town in the city, city in the kingdom. This is the key of the kingdom. Were you born in the highest branches of a huge tree? Did a giant bird of prey hatch you from an egg? Do you cry and sing in your sleep? Would you like to? Have you ever been struck by lightning? Would you like to be? Are you ready to run away into the mountains? Can you fly? Have you ever jumped into a fire? Would you like to? Have you ever tried to go to sleep underwater? Would you like to catch a deer with your teeth and kill it and eat it and wear its skin and put its antlers on your head and dance? Have you ever ridden a snake or sung a king to sleep? Would you like to? Do you know the shape of the human soul? Have you been to the land of the dead and come back? Would you like to go? This is what poets did before they were called poets, before they could write down what they said. Your artistic ancestors were singers, con artists, fortune tellers, hermits, witches, oracles, prophets, shamans, wizards, and clowns. Today, friends and neighbors are fond of saying poets are sick people or just silly. But remember, real poets are sick people who have cured themselves. And you don't have to be any sillier than you want to be. Most sociologists and most politicians and all policemen have forgotten how words used to mean what they sound like. You may be the only one sitting around the campfire some night who realize cough, hawk, spit, and sizzle mean exactly what they say. And when you're sipping your drink through a straw, remember some of the first poets did that through the hollow wing bone of an eagle. I'm going to pretend you're serious about this, so don't go telling me you're not. Don't disillusion me on purpose. Let me go on believing you want to be the part of this part of the secret world, the primitive power of the poet, a place of incessant creation in harmony with gravity and the orbit of the stars and the growth of grass and the angles of crystals. Grandpa Emerson told you it was so long ago. What fills you? What empties you? What tempts you? What threatens you? What needs you? What makes you sing? And now you're all just in time to go home and answer those questions, my dear classmates. You're playing for high stakes. Even a good poem, like a great painting or a great piece of sculpture or a great piece of music or a great play or work of fiction or even a really good one, like yours and mine sometimes, can change the nature of reality forever. We don't see or hear things the same way, and we don't even think the same way because great artists lived and worked. Don't be afraid. All you have to do is put words on a page, and then you change them if they don't seem quite right. What could be simpler? You're trying your luck free of charge. It won't cost you anything but your time and your sanity. Come back tomorrow, and we'll start working. Begin where you happen to be. There's nowhere else better. I intend to haunt you. Goodbye, my snapping turtles, my garter snakes, my birds. The cage door is open. You may exit.